Ryan's woman in Arcadia is an old Betty named Langford. An okay sort, but not above doing a dirty job for $1. If she's still kicking around, I'm sure she's gonna want to save her trees. After all, she planted the damn things.
Julie Langford is one of the few minds left in Rapture that hasn't gone completely mad before or during the events of the game BioShock. A brilliant botanist who's managed to grow plant life at the bottom of the ocean, Langford was one of a select few who were invited to the submerged city personally by Andrew Ryan. In the depths of Rapture, she would maintain her garden and arboretum, Arcadia, helping to supply the necessary oxygen needed to keep the city up and running.
So I get to thinking, we're paying for oxygen when we got photosynthesizing trees. Hell, we can even sell the extra to the rest of the city and undercut the other guys. Ryan will like that for sure.
The story of Julie Langford as we know it begins with her career as a researcher and botanist at the University of California, Berkeley. Langford would become a well-known figure in the surface's botanical world due to both her groundbreaking work in the field and her somewhat fantastical theories. These two aspects coming together to create very mixed opinions, with some of her colleagues and peers praising her as a visionary, while others dismissed her as a crackpot. Despite these conflicting positions, however, Julie would be one of a few botanists approached during the Second World War to help the US government's wartime efforts against the Japanese, tasked with defoliating trees in the Pacific to improve visibility in the treacherous terrain. Julie and her team would accomplish the difficult mission, with this success accompanied by her groundbreaking accolades at Berkeley, drawing the eye of a man named Andrew Ryan. Ryan would approach Langford with a proposition, an offer to join his new society under the sea, embark on a new challenge to bring plants to life in a location that had never before been possible. And while we don't know for certain the reason behind why, be it annoyance with her narrow-minded colleagues, interest in a new adventure, or just academic curiosity, Julie would accept Ryan's interesting offer, becoming the most prolific botanical mind in all of Rapture.
Who says you can't teach an old hound new tricks? This batty plant woman spends 4 years coming up with ways to defoliate trees in the Pacific to scare out the Japs, and now here I am, down at the bottom of the Atlantic, trying to figure out how to do the same thing in reverse.
Unfortunately for the brilliant botanist, Langford's time in this submerged city would be marred by frustration and compromise. On the surface, the beauty of a flower or the strength of a tree were commonplace, their glory easily visible to all as soon as you ventured outside. But in Rapture, such foliage was a novelty, and Ryan wanted to make it a commodity. This idea annoyed the scientist, but with no real leverage in the discussion, she really had no grounds on which to disagree. And as Ryan's frame of commercializing everything began to shift her own mind, she would suggest that they sell the oxygen produced by her plants, a way to break into the O2 market and undercut the other guys. Aside from these business ventures, however, Langford would largely keep to herself, working on her own studies within Arcadia and avoiding the politics of a swiftly deteriorating Rapture. Splicers had become an ever-growing nuisance, and a group called the Saturnine had begun to drastically hinder her work by stealing everything that wasn't bolted to the floors. However, the real blow to her research would come during the Rapture Civil War, when Ryan would close Arcadia for good, making her trips to the office much more dangerous than ever before. Yet, despite these setbacks, the strides of her work kept her from the overindulgence that plagued the rest of Ryan's broken society. Adam had opened up new possibilities in botanical work that promised to be the antithesis of everything she'd done before. It was easy enough to kill a tree, or a forest. She'd done it during World War II against the Japanese. But bringing it back to life was an impossibility that she wanted to make a reality.
I've been killing trees for 25 years. At Berkeley back in the 20s, on the Japs at Iwo Jima. But I never brought one back from the grave before. I did, Becky. Mama's gonna build her first damn Frankentree. I'm gonna call my little creature.
Julie Langford is one of the most brilliant minds in all of Rapture, as well as one of the most tenacious. Living a life entirely devoted to her love of everything botanical, Julie would slave away at a concoction that she hoped would be the pinnacle of an already incredible career. And while Ryan may have pushed her into some ethical quandaries that were beyond her liking, when he came to threaten her plants and research, she was willing to stand defiant to see her final, most impressive botanical achievement brought to life.
Julie, we made a business deal, you and I, did we not? Money changed hands. Let me read to you from the agreement. Section 3, subsection 4.
Mr. Ryan.
Ryan Industries maintains exclusive rights to the creation, use, and exploitation of the Lazarus vector. Ownership is civilization.
Wait, no, please.
Without it, we're back in the swamp.